There's been a shakeup in the wild, wild west of Las Vegas. You know the saying, what happens in Vegas, it stays in Vegas. But things aren't as all they're supposed to be. What was supposed to be a franchise quarterback for the future turns out to be nothing more but just snake oil and a whole bunch of heartache moving forward. There's a new regime in town. So what happens next for the Vegas Raiders? We'll find out. All that and more with a brand new episode of West Side Sports with your boy, West Side Izzy P. Let's get it.
I step in the room, they be know the same. I'm a Texas boy, but I'm from Eden. J-Man, where with that boy Garden?
What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy, West Side Izzy P. And you are locked into a brand new episode of West Side Sports. How's everybody doing today? I hope everybody's having a good old day. Hey, look. The channel's been moving in a good direction. It seems like a lot of people are tuning in, and I love what I'm seeing. So I'm going to throw this out there real quick for everybody out there. If you enjoy what you are watching right now, if you like what you are listening to, let's do me a favor. Please hit that like button, hit the subscribe, get in the comments down below, and let me know what y'all want to talk about, man. For real, let's build this thing up. Join the community. Let's build this thing from the ground up, and let's all gather together and just have a good old time. Let's get the algorithm going in our favor. That's right, I said our. This is our channel. I might be the one talking, but y'all are a part of it too. So let's get the algorithm in our favor. Like that video, hit the subscribe, share this video out with a lot of people, and let's get this thing going, man. Let's try and build this thing up the right way. But with all that being said, we need to talk about something that's going on right now. 3 days ago, it was announced that Jimmy Garoppolo was suspended for 2 games to start out the 2024 season, and that the Raiders were going to be moving on from him. But just last year, they signed him to a pretty lucrative deal to be the guy moving forward. What happened? What happened with the Vegas Raiders? What happened with Jimmy G? And where do we move as a whole going forward? We're going to go ahead and find out. We're going to go ahead and get the stats and the facts and everything that pretty much led up to this point. And if you guys aren't familiar with Jimmy Garoppolo, he started out as a backup behind Tom Brady in New England, joined the San Francisco 49ers as their starter for the next 6 seasons, and then came into Vegas to be their starter for what was supposed to be a 3-year contract, and that didn't turn out well. We're going to look at a couple of seasons from him being in San Francisco, moving into Vegas. We're not going to focus in on his entire career. We're just going to only hone in on just like 3 seasons. So the 2021 campaign, the 2022 season, and then the 2023 season with the Vegas Raiders. And then we're going to talk about another quarterback that got thrown into the mix, and pretty much a huge shakeup that everybody should be familiar with by now. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Jimmy Garoppolo, like I said, he played 6 years with the San Francisco 49ers. And if you look at his run with San Francisco, he didn't play a full season a whole lot. This man was pretty much hurt nonstop. He has a injury history, to say the least. But in 2021, he did play 15 games with the Niners. He threw for over 3,800 yards, 3,810 yards passing. He had a 20 touchdown to 12 interception ratio. He threw for 68.3% completion percentage. He had a 98.7 rating and a 59.2 QBR to end that season out. Now, why are we starting with this one? Well, if you remember in 2021, the San Francisco 49ers would end up drafting Trey Lance. They moved up in the draft, and they picked up Trey Lance, and they were going to mold Trey Lance to be the guy to take the team forward. And Jimmy Garoppolo, around this time, he had dealt with a shoulder injury. And the entire premise was, while they were having Trey Lance sit behind Jimmy Garoppolo, while he was being trained up in the system that Kyle Shanahan was pretty much building, Jimmy was going to lead the team for the year. And then afterward, Jimmy was going to be leaving the 49ers, and then the reins would be handed right back to Trey Lance. That didn't go as planned. Garoppolo would end up getting shoulder surgery. And then he would end up reconfiguring his deal to being a 1-year deal with the 49ers, and Jimmy G would end up coming in relief. He'll be playing the backup role behind Trey Lance. Well, just 2 games into Trey Lance's season, he would end up hurting his ankle. Jimmy Garoppolo would come in and pretty much play the rest of the season out. He would end up getting hurt with his foot injury, and then Brock Purdy would step in and pretty much take the 49ers all the way to the NFC title game, and we all know how that played out. But in the 11 games that Jimmy Garoppolo played with the 49ers, he threw for 2,400 yards, so 2,437 yards passing. He had a 16 touchdown to 4 interception ratio, a better ratio than what he had the previous season. He had a 67.2 completion percentage. He finished with a 103 rating and a 56.3 QBR. The QBR was a little bit lower than the previous season, but the rating was way higher. So this was going to be a better year for Garoppolo had he not gotten hurt. But then in 2023, after he leaves the 49ers, he would then go on to sign on with the Las Vegas Raiders to be their starting quarterback. He signed on to a 3-year, $67.5 million deal. And now here's where things are going to get tricky. He only played 7 games. He got hurt, and also there was a shakeup. So in the 7 games that he played in the 2023 season, he only threw for 1,200 yards. Throws for 7 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. Has a 65.1 completion percentage. Has a 77.7 rating and a 33.9 QBR. Practically one of his worst seasons. And in the midst of all of this, Josh McDaniels, the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, would end up getting fired from his job along with the GM. So now you not only have a hurt quarterback, but now you have no head coach and you have no GM in the middle of the season. The owner, Mark Davis, would end up going and signing the interim head coaching position to Antonio Pierce, who would make his move as head coach pretty much immediate. He pretty much stamped his name on changing the entire culture by announcing that Aiden O'Connell, the rookie quarterback out of Purdue, would end up taking over the reins as the starting quarterback for the foreseeable future in the 2023 season. And his statistics were way better than what expected. Aiden O'Connell would throw for 2,218 yards passing. He throws for 12 touchdowns to just 7 interceptions. He has a 62.1 completion percentage. He has an 83.9 rating and a 40.5 QBR. Better than expected for the rookie. And not only that, better than Jimmy Garoppolo had done in those 7 games. And now we get to the end of the season. Antonio Pierce is named the head coach for the Las Vegas Raiders. They have a new GM. Everything is looking smooth. There could be some transition happening. Jimmy Garoppolo might be staying on the team. And then 3 days ago, like I said earlier, Jimmy Garoppolo gets popped with a 2-game suspension for the first 2 games in the 2024 NFL season for violating the NFL's policy on performance-enhancing substances. And now there's reports saying that the Raiders are going to be releasing Jimmy Garoppolo following this suspension. And this is a pretty big deal for the Raiders. This is a pretty big deal for Jimmy Garoppolo because Garoppolo was scheduled to make $11.25 million in March. And now the Raiders are going to be releasing him, which means they'll be saving at least $10 million right then and there off of that release. And they'll have about $17 million in dead cap, which is a lot lower than what they would have had they released Garoppolo had he not gotten suspended. So where does this lead Garoppolo? Where does this lead the the Las Vegas Raiders moving forward into their season? Well, it's simple. They got to get a quarterback now. Yes, you got a rookie in Aiden O'Connell, and his numbers were pretty good, but these were numbers that were in relief. And by the way that he played, could he be a potential starter for the Raiders moving forward? You could give him a shot. You could possibly have him in a competition going forward and seeing if he earns that role with Antonio Pierce as the head coach. But I would suspect that the Raiders would be looking elsewhere. They could possibly look in free agency, or they could possibly look in the draft, because this is going to be one of the biggest needs for Vegas moving forward. They're going to need a quarterback. They're going to need someone that they could trust. And there's a couple of guys out there that you could look at could bring some extra energy into the room. And one guy in particular that I'm looking at that looks like could be a potential move is actually in the AFC West as well, and he's going to be getting released as possible as sooner than later, is Russell Wilson. Now, call me crazy, but I don't think Russell Wilson had a fair shake with Sean Payton in Denver. I think he gets a better shake in Vegas with Antonio Pierce as the head coach. Does that happen? That's for me to guess and for everybody to kind of guess and figure out as well. But we won't really know what's going to happen until free agency starts up in March. But with everything what it's looking like is Garoppolo is going to be moved off of. They're going to move off of Garoppolo. They're going to go ahead and take their hit on the money on the dead cap, and they're going to go ahead and pretty much get everything situated. I can expect the Raiders to possibly look at this type of situation as like what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had to deal with in their $80 million in dead cap money with Brady when he retired for the second time, and how they went and got Baker Mayfield on a one-year prove-it deal, and then they just took off, and now they could possibly bring back Baker Mayfield off a 3-4 year deal. I'm thinking the Raiders could possibly do the same thing now with Garoppolo being suspended and being released. And the question now is, what happens with Jimmy Garoppolo moving forward as well? Because he's going to get suspended for the first 2 games. He's going to get released. What team is going to look at him? And if they do happen to look at him, do they look at him as a viable starter in the league? Let's go ahead and keep it funky. He had the shoulder injury when he played in San Francisco. He hurt his foot when he was playing in San Francisco in the final year. He gets hurt again. He gets benched in Vegas 7 games into the season because he's not performing properly. He's producing poorly. A lot of people are going to look at the history. They're going to look at the production, and they're probably going to wonder, is he even worth giving a starting role? I mean, yeah, he's proven that he could be a viable starter, but if you look at the numbers throughout his years, he hasn't thrown over 25 touchdowns in any of his campaigns. Like, the most that he's thrown, I believe, was 2021, where he only threw 20 touchdowns to the 12 interceptions. Now, that could be researched a little bit more, but you see the production. If you were to really take a look at the production, you could see that Jimmy Garoppolo is more like a high-level backup, low-end starter. And for a team that is looking for a guy to help elevate their offense, do you want to take a chance with a guy who's a low-end starter, high-level backup, or do you want to take a chance and look for a guy that can give you that spark that you're looking for, possibly through the draft or maybe in free agency with somebody else that's maybe younger than Garoppolo, that's healthier than Garoppolo? It's a sticky, very weird situation happening in Vegas. And I think it's a turn in the right direction for the Raiders as a whole. Like, they're going to get someone younger. They're going to get someone healthier, someone brand new into the team. And I think the Raiders could be a dark horse when it comes to contending for the AFC West. It just wasn't going to happen with Garoppolo. The writing was on the wall after he got that suspension. And unfortunately for the Raiders, this is going to be a chapter in the book where they're going to just want to turn the page and never look at it again. And for them, I think they'll be able to do that rather quickly. But for Garoppolo's sake, I don't think he's going to have that opportunity. He's going to be sitting with this for a little bit. And who knows? He might turn out to be the next Joe Flacco, where like a team loses their quarterback early in the year and they need someone to step in and, take the reins and maybe give their team a second chance at making a run or whatever. He could be that guy, or he could get signed on to a team as like a veteran starter with a younger rookie coming in just to hold the reins a little bit and then possibly move forward at that end. But let me know what y'all think about this entire situation with the Raiders and with Garoppolo. Do y'all see him getting signed somewhere as a starter, or do you see him getting signed as a backup? And what happens with the Raiders? Who do you think they go after in free agency? Do you think they stick with Aiden O'Connell as their starter and then bring somebody in behind him as a backup, kind of like a Carson Wentz, a Nick Foles? Or do you think they go in the draft and they go after someone like a Jaden Daniels, after a Bo Nix, and have a quarterback competition between the two, between Connell and maybe one of those rookies, and see who's going to be the starter moving forward? I would love to hear your comments on this one. This is a crazy situation happening in Vegas, and, you know, it sucks that it played out the way that it played out, but I think it's for the better for both parties moving forward. I'm excited for the AFC West because, you got Harbaugh with Herbert. You got Mahomes, who just won his second title back to back. There could possibly be a brand new turn in the West with the Broncos, and now the Raiders are going to be getting a little bit younger as well. Raiders could be a sneaky team moving forward in the AFC West, but you can never count out the Chargers or the Broncos, or definitely not the Chiefs. But with all that being said, man, let me know what y'all think down below in the comment section. Like this video, subscribe, share this video with all your friends, and let's continue to build this thing up, man. Let me know what y'all feel about this. With all that being said, it's your boy Westside Izzy P. This has been Westside Sports. Stay tuned. I got another video coming into you soon. Peace.
No, I can't go back. Tryna live my old ways.